Hello and welcome to part 2 of my MotoGP 23 career mode, and today we're here for the second round of our debut season for the Qatar Grand Prix. Now if you didn't see the last episode, I do recommend you go check that one out because it'll make a lot more sense to you what's going on here, but basically we get thrusted into the end of a Moto3 season and our objective is to beat Ryusei Yamanaka. Now, it didn't go too well in the first episode. The pace was okay in the dry, nothing amazing, but unfortunately there were lots of simulated times issues, so as soon as the session finished, I'd always just be put to last. It didn't matter how fast the AI actually were on track. I was quite confident going into the race, thinking that my pace was actually quite good relative to the AI when we were all together on track. But then it was wet, so we just battled Ana Carrasco for last place, basically, the entire race. So this time, I'm hoping going into the Qatar GP that we can do a little bit better. So without any further ado, let's head into it then and see how we get on at the Qatar GP. Actually, we do have an extra challenge here as well this weekend to try and beat Tatsuki Suzuki because he did diss us a little bit on the social media platform in the last episode. So it seems to be a similar story at this circuit as we saw in Sepang. Now it's actually slightly worse because they were also a lot faster than me on track as well. Obviously the simulated times were still about 2 seconds quicker than what they were going on circuit, but even on circuit they were a lot faster than me. So I've actually got the AI on 95% currently, and that's still probably a little bit too fast for me, but I couldn't really go any further than that, to be honest. I couldn't let myself go that far because I also don't want to end up getting to the race and dominating or something like that. I'm trying to keep it quite balanced. So for now, I'm still trying to find the right AI difficulty because it does genuinely seem like the AI are going to be harder to beat this year. Not because I think the AI are any better, I think it's because the player has been massively nerfed, even though we already were fairly nerfed previously. But I've got them on 95%. They should be doing 207s, like basically low 207s. You can see basically no one's done that except, in fact, literally no one's done that. So I'm down in last place. Scott Ogden is second to last. I have just skipped straight to qualifying because there's no point doing another practice session because I've actually done FP1 a couple of times to try and find the right AI balance. So we may as well head into qualifying, but it's going to be last on the grid no matter what I do because they're going to do 205s. So we may as well head to qualifying just to do the qualifying, but it's going to be last on the grid. The more I think about it, the more I actually can't believe I was even able to keep up with them in Sepang, to be honest with you. Because of the dry, the pace was good in Sepang. I had the pace to be in the points in Sepang, which I don't know how I was able to do that because here I wasn't even close. I was like 3 seconds a lap off them. That was without the simulated time. So once they did the simulated times, I was even further behind. So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go. I think it's going to go quite poorly, to be fair. I really don't see us beating Yamanaka. And of course, as we know from the previous news that we found out before going into this game, if we don't beat Yamanaka, we actually get targeted to try and beat somebody a bit lower down in the championship. So I'm expecting that to happen at some point. But again, I don't think I'm going to be able to beat them either without maybe modifying the AI difficulty further. I don't mind if they're too fast, I'll turn them down. But if they're like 2 seconds quicker off the track than they are on it, then what can I do? Because in the races, I'll be too overpowered if I turn them down further, but then I can't qualify anywhere because they're too fast. If I turn them down ridiculously, okay, I'm able to qualify, but then in the race, I'll just clear off. So it's quite difficult to try and find that balance. So far I'm running 95. I ran 120 in the first episode, so that's a difference of 25. I could see people struggling with this game, let's put it that way. It's a bit more user-friendly to ride the bike, but the actual AI themselves seem obviously a lot quicker. How did I stay on that? Again, that'll be another one of those crashes where you were definitely down on MotoGP 22. That's unfortunate because we had a pretty good tow there. Might wait up for the rider behind and see if I can get a tow there. We'll use this lap as a gauge to see how close I can actually stay to the back of Colin Via because in theory, I should be able to keep up with him. Although if I run wide like that, I actually can't blame the AI. That's just poor riding on my part. So I've actually given him a big lead. But there you go. We're basically perfect slipstream range. We should gain a decent amount on him in turn 1 since it's such a hard braking zone. And then we'll see where we can go from there. 2:07.9 is a top time there. So that should really be more in my range, to be fair. Because I was doing 2:08s in the previous session. So here we are then up towards the line. You can see Via has absolutely destroyed us. So what has Via done? Not even anything on the timesheets there. 2:08.5 for me. So to be honest, that's not too bad. I think I did a 2:07 was my best lap, so there is a bit more time on the table. So here we are then, up towards the line. We are quite a lot quicker on this lap, 0.8 of a second. It's going to probably be 9 by the time we get to the line. It is. So this is actually a big improvement in terms of lap time. Where's that put me? P9. Okay, I'm actually a bit disappointed by that one. But still 0.9 off, because you can see they've now done a 206.8. They're so fast. I can't believe it. I really can't believe how fast they are. So unsurprisingly then, they did go about a second quicker. 205.8 was the top time, and also the second place time. 205.9 for the other two spots, and then 205.9s all the way down to 6th position. So yeah, I didn't stand a chance. I was 1.1 off the nearest rider, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I think I'm going to have to turn it down even more for the race, just to actually give you guys some sort of a race, because again, I do understand that it is a career mode for entertainment, so I can't just be cruising around at the back. Obviously, the first episode was a bit of an exception, but I really just can't believe it. I cannot believe how quick they are. I really am shocked. I did not expect to come into this game struggling this much. I've never struggled this much on a MotoGP game heading into it. I've had to turn them down to maybe like 100 before to be semi-competitive, but I've never really been last by quite a margin. We'll head into the race now then. I'll turn it down to 85%, which has got to be the lowest I've ever used, and let's see how we get on. So here we are then, down on the grid, and you can see on the right hand side we've got our objectives. Obviously we've got to try and beat Yamanaka in the standings. Well, I can tell you now that's just not happening. We've got to beat Suzuki in the race. Again, I can tell you that's not happening. And then we've got to try and get in the top 15 in the race, which, again, is probably not happening. So I don't think our objectives are going to get achieved today. Well, we'll go on to the medium-hard combination, so medium on the front, hard on the rear, because, of course, there is no more medium rear tyre for Moto3. I don't know how long it's been like that. I don't know if that's a new thing for this year in real life, or that's just for the first time they've actually got it right in the game. I actually don't know, to be honest. But we've put the AI down to 85%, like I said. We're going to see how we get on with that, because obviously if they're still too fast now, then I'm really, really in trouble. So I'm hoping that they're not. Hopefully they are about right, and we can maybe have a bit of a battle, maybe try and carve our way through the pack a little bit. But they actually seem pretty good off the start based on what we did previously in Malaysia, so I wouldn't be surprised if we did struggle a bit. But without any further ado then, let's get this race started then and see where we end up.
Exciting lap complete. It's important to have warmed up the tyres or they could have problems on turns 2 and 6. All eyes on the lights now. Everything's ready for the start of the Qatar Grand Prix.
So I've got the same front row as in Malaysia. Moreira, Holgado and Ortola waiting for the lights to go here at Qatar. That was a long, long hold on the lights, but the lights are out. We've actually had a really good start actually this time. So the AI, again, seeming to get a pretty good launch off the line. We've not blasted past them all like we would have done in MotoGP 22. But we actually got a pretty good launch ourselves there. We've had contact with the CRP into turn 1. We've got someone trying to go on the inside. I think it was Romano Fernandez trying to go up our inside. We've had contact with the other sniper's bike. So there's going to be people not very happy with us on the social media feed after this race with the contact we're having so far. But we're up to 22nd position. A few of the AI got a little bit slow out of there. We've squeezed through past Mario Agi. We're up into P19 now. I think that Sazman has just gone a little bit slow. So we're trying to go on the outside of the Malaysian rider. Although he's back up the inside of us now, so he's not having any of that at all. So we seem to be settled into P19 unless someone comes up the inside. They've not. So we're into P19, so we've made a few positions up. Not too many, fortunately. We've now been overtaken by Colin Via, so we've lost a position at turn 6, a corner where, to be honest, I felt like I'd actually gained on the AI. But to be fair, they actually don't seem too bad on the brakes at this track. Although I'm the one that's bad on the brakes, I've made a huge mistake. Lost a position to the two CIP bikes. And now we are side by side with David Alonso, the Colombian. We're trying to go around the outside of David. He's trying to hang it on the inside. To be fair, at least he backed out of that. Because I think in the past they probably just ran into you. Although, to be fair, I don't know if he actually meant to. It might have just been the fact that he sort of hit the curb. So then we've got both of the CIP bikes in front of us. Lorenzo Fallon and David Salvador, of course, both new to the team this year. That's why they've both got plain helmets, I believe. Although it is strange, they have left some helmets plain when they could have used the previous year's helmets for a lot of the riders. But my teammate Skogden then has come through on the inside, through the triple right. So we've got a track limits warning there, because I was trying to go around the outside of Scott, so it was a little bit foolish of myself there to try and do that. But Scott gets back through, so we had a good start to the race. We're now dropping back through the pack once again, and David Alonso all over the back of us into the last corner. He's going to probably overtake me. He is. There's a little bit of contact. I'm surprised he didn't fall off from that. I'm glad he didn't, but in MotoGP 22, that kind of contact has definitely had the AI off, and probably myself as well, in the past. But we're using a little bit of Power Mode 3 to get back past the Gas rider, although he's actually levelling me even with that. So it does seem like the AI maybe has some sort of straight line speed advantage. But on the inside, into turn 1 we go of Scott Ogden as well. Not quite, actually. So again, at this circuit, they actually seem to be not too bad on the brakes. feel like it must have just been Sepang. That's probably why I was so competitive at Sepang, you see, because they were costing themselves so much time on the brakes. So again, it does seem like we're going to have another game of very inconsistent AI from track to track. Some tracks, they are going to be stunning. Some tracks, they are going to be shocking. And you just got to try and figure out which is which. Although at least they do seem quick enough where I could probably play with the AI settings based on the track and try and actually get some good close racing at every single one. Into turn 6, we're looking at the inside of Scott. Not able to do so again. Not too bad on the brakes there. I did gain a bit on the initial entry, but you can't quite pivot it around up the inside. So it is quite difficult to get the move done. David Alonso again looking in the same place he looked on the previous lap. Unable to do so, although it was definitely more of a look this time. He didn't back out, he sort of pushed me a bit. And he's trying. I just cannot turn this bike because obviously I need to be on the power to actually get out the corner. I can't. I'm trying to get over to the line. I'm not actually trying to hit into David here, but we are having quite a bit of contact. So again, I think he is going to be pretty annoyed at me afterwards. I'm definitely going to be getting something on the feed about it, a little bit more contact. Although again, it doesn't seem to be affecting us too much, so that's probably a good thing. I mean, in Moto3 there is plenty of contact in real life, maybe not quite to the extent that we're having here. At least we're in the pack, having a bit of a good race. Here we go then, down towards the final corner. Can we try and make a move at the inside of David? We can. At the inside of Alonso, he's trying to hang it around the outside. I think he has got it. I picked up the power probably a bit too early. I wasn't going to keep on the track, so I had to roll off the throttle again. And here comes Ada Carrasco, my nemesis from the last race, of course. We've actually got a pretty good slipstream here on David Alonso. New fastest lap, well, new personal best lap, 209.4, so quite a lot off what we did in qualifying, although I guess we are battling. And also, it does seem like the fuel load makes a substantial difference in this game. It's the first game that Milestone have ever made where the fuel load actually does seem to affect the bike. I've seen all the previous MotoGP games. You could do your qualifying laps on the first lap of the race if you want. Well, not the first lap, I guess, the second lap of the race. I'm finding it more difficult to actually get it stopped than I did in Malaysia, it must be said. Especially in this race situation rather than the qualifying. Again, we've had to get back past Alonso. He must be getting really frustrated of me overtaking him back every time he passes me. It's like me when I have an AI in front of me that's a bit slower. And well, it's like the last race, I suppose. Every time I got past Carrasco, she'd just get back past me in an area where they were slightly quicker, even though I had way quicker pace than her overall over the lap. It was just holding me back so much. So we did a 208.8 on that last lap, so a second slower off of race leader Diogo Moreira, but we did close a bit back up to Scott Ogden. So we actually might be able to sort of get our teeth into this group a little bit. We almost hit Scott there. In fact, I think we might have done, just slightly hit him. But we are now closing up to this group a little bit more. So it does seem once the fuel load comes off, I actually am a little bit quicker. And here we are into turn 6, trying to square off Scott Ogden, although that wasn't ideal, wasn't getting out of the corner too well there. Are we going to have a look at the inside? Yes, we are, but that was that could have gone really badly wrong. Michael Laverty would not have been happy if I'd fully committed to that one. 2 riders on the ground. Quick update on our objectives. We are doing absolutely terribly. We are 21 points down behind Yamanaka in the championship if it ends like this, and we need to be ahead of him in this race, by the way. And we are 5 seconds behind Suzuki, so in terms of those objectives, we're doing really poorly, and in terms of scoring points, we're not doing much better, because we are in 23rd place now. Although it is an improvement over our last race result, I guess. Right, can I get a slipstream on him this lap? Because last lap, I didn't get much of one. And again, it seems to be a similar thing. Someone's on the grass up in front. Someone went to the left-hand side of the track and went completely onto the grass by the looks of it. 208.6 on that lap. So once again, getting a bit quicker into turn 1. We're closing up to Scott. Can we make a pass on him? He's left us a bit of room. Come on, Scott. Oh, I've kind of bashed him again there. Yeah, my rider's took his hand off. I don't know why my rider's complaining, because I was completely at fault for that. And Scott Ogden has lived to fight another day in that P22, but I've got the run on him now, surely, through turn 3. Try and carry that speed with that Power Mode 3 down towards... Oh, we've absolutely clattered into him there, into turn 4, but this time I think we have got the move done. Wow, okay, I've not been very clean with my passes, I must say. I am struggling to still control the bike, especially when it comes to power delivery. But we've got past him. We'll look at this on Lorenzo Fallon almost immediately, and that's going to be... Oh, okay, well, Ogden's gave us a hit back, fair enough then. I had to pick the bike. Well, I was going to say I had to pick the bike up, but the bike sort of picked itself up as I was thinking about picking it up. Oh, again, that's the same corner 2 laps in a row. That's now allowed David Alonso through. So all of our squabbling has cost us a position to the Gas rider. Carrasco is now attacking me down to the last corner. And unfortunately, I made a bit of a mistake by braking on the curb. That's probably allowed Anna through there, which I really didn't need. I wanted to stay in contact with David Alonso, but I think she's well and truly ruined that one for me. So that's like 2 races in a row now. Anna Carrasco has just like completely ruined me trying to catch up to somebody else. So here we go, a bit of Palma 3, blasting past Anna. I need to try and put a bit of a gap into it and close up to these guys ahead. Well, this lap has been so much better than anything I've done before, probably because I've not had any AI in my way. I'm almost 7 tenths underneath, and we are pretty much back with these guys. Looks like Ogden, similarly to the last race, is struggling in the closing stages because Alonso's really hassling him now. Well, Alonso's virtually pushing him out the way. Alonso has just pushed him out the way. So those two side by side, they've kind of ruined their attempts at beating Furusato now in front. But we're right on the back of Ogden, so we should be able to get Scott. So we actually might be able to beat him in this race, which would be good, because obviously in the last one we didn't manage to do so. So here we go then, in the slipstream of Scott Ogden. Surely we're going to pass him this time, and this is going to be a really good lap time for us as well with this slipstream up towards the line. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 207. Oh, 208.000. Just to break my heart there and not quite make it into a 207. And up the inside we try and go with David Alonso, but once again, the AI in the second phase of the braking seemed to kind of have it. It's the first phase where they're a bit weak and I seem to gain and I start thinking about making a move. But then by the time we get to the apex, I just don't quite have enough of an advantage to make that pass stick. But again, I do feel like I've got the pace over David Alonso here, although I'm going to have to turn my engine down because I'm starting to run out of fuel. Oh, right on the back of David. Here we go. I'm going to surely line him up for a pass into turn 6 now. Yes, I have. The bike does feel like it's coming alive a bit more with the lower fuel mix. It must, not lower fuel mix, the lower fuel load, should I say. Although I'm going to have to go into lower fuel mix very shortly. And here we got the inside of David Alonso. We looked here a couple of times on Scott Ogden. We weren't able to do it. We've not been able to do it on this time on David Alonso either. But at least I actually had a closer attempt at it. It wasn't like when I actually was trying it on Scott where I just couldn't do it at all. And here we go. On the inside, this used to be my favourite pass on the AI, but unfortunately, again, not able to do it, just not able to get the power on and turn the bike. And tell you what, considering that Ogden was struggling, he's only 2 tenths behind us, so we've got to watch out for that when we try and attack Alonso, that we don't cost ourselves another position once again, because we've done that a couple of times in this race so far. So it's picked up another track limits warning, so that's 2 track limits warnings now, so do need to be careful. I don't pick up many more. Well, any more, ideally. Right, okay, we should be able to get David on this straight here. And that should put us up into 22nd. And it's actually Ricky Rossi in front. I thought it was Furusato. I thought it was a Honda Team Asia bike, but it's actually a 658. I just saw the red and white and assumed the wrong team. So if we get past Alonso, we might have a chance at getting Rossi. We might be able to get in the top 20 if we really get a motor in. But it is the penultimate lap as we cross the line here. So I think we are probably going to run out of time. And in fact, we're not even going to pass Alonso, I don't think, in turn 1 because... Oh, we're going to try it anyway. We weren't gaining much on him in the slipstream there. We forced him to go the long way around. I can't quite pick up the throttle like I want to. Oh, that made it look like I already picked it up on him. But again, that's just me picking up the throttle. The bike sat itself up. But I think we've got him. So up into 22nd place then. Riccardo Rossi is up next. A bit of clear track. Exactly what we needed. I'll tell you what, actually I don't think we are going to have to turn the engine down because I haven't turned it down. We basically haven't lost any fuel. So I think we actually are filled up pretty much to the brim. Well, we are filled up to the brim in these races, but we've got plenty of fuel in reserve if needed. Doesn't seem like we have to save fuel particularly, so that is good. I tell you what, in fairness though, the AI have been much more of a delight to battle with in this race, because they've just not been turning in on me so much. They've actually been fairly fair with me. I mean, we've been pretty aggressive, but no one's come off. It does seem like that there's less crashes, because that's 2 career mode races we've done so far. I don't think I've seen a single AI crash. I mean, there still is another lap of this one, of course. But in terms of actual crashes between the AI and stuff, I don't think I've seen one yet in this game. So here we go, at the inside into turn 6. It's going to be close. He just tries to hang it around the outside, but he might have cost himself a bit trying to do that. We've got to be careful again, because Alonso's not too far behind. Another track limits warning, so to be honest, I've not been the cleanest in terms of my track limits in this race. Although I think on one occasion I was slightly edged out, but the other 2 have just been me being a bit too eager on the throttle. Although again, I can't actually turn the bike when the throttle's open, so I do need a little bit of leeway with that one. Especially since it is still day 1. I'm sure that excuse will have to leave at some point, but for now I think it's still valid. But I tell you what, I feel like Riccardo Rossi has the wrong helmet on, because he's got like Monster branding all over the side, and I feel like he's not sponsored by Monster at all. So we might have to have a look at that one. So I'm not going to be close enough to beat Riccardo Rossi, unfortunately. I do need to watch out behind for David Alonso, actually. He's not too far behind me. We go through this final corner. I've actually picked up the throttle probably about the right time there. Can we get a bit of a distant toe off of Ricciardo? It doesn't look like we're going to. Actually, we have got a little bit of a one. But I guess that means Alonso would also have one on me. Can we get him on towards the line? Actually, Ricciardo Rossi, no, we can't, unfortunately. So it's 22nd in this Qatar GP. Well, that's got to be the hardest fought 22nd place that I've ever had. I mean, not that I've probably finished there many times, if ever, but it is tough. It is really tough. You can see the AI lap times at the front, 207s. I could achieve those once or twice. So maybe this is the right AI difficulty to go with. I might move forward with this one and see how we get on. But at the moment, when the simulator times are the way they are, I can't start anywhere but last, which then makes it impossible to come through because the AI are not as bad as they used to be. You can't just cut through them like you previously could. But we came home there in 22nd place, only half a second off the fastest lap time, and considerably quicker than the riders around us. Or actually, though, Fallon was a bit quicker than me, but he seems to be the outlier compared to most of the other riders. But Yamanaka finished 6th place then, and Suzuki was in 9th, and we finished 22nd. So that's 0 for 3 in terms of objectives complete. But at least we already had such a low reputation. We probably can't lose any more reputation points. But I tell you what, we have really, really failed that challenge that they set us, haven't I? Then in the Riders' Championship then, we actually have moved below Munoz now. Moreira actually takes the lead of the championship, 4 points now ahead of Holgado. So in the Teams Championship then, where are we? We have dropped down to 9th place. That's a bit more like it, dropping right towards the back, although there's actually still plenty of guys behind us, especially the Aspar team, which is a bit of a surprise, to be honest. You'd think they would be right up there since obviously they did win the championship in real life last year. But there we go then. We may as well head back to the career hub, see, well, we're not going to get anything. We're obviously going to lose reputation points. See what happens, because obviously we failed this turning point. And we should get another one, so we'll have to see what we get, because obviously we've never experienced anything like this before. So yeah, we haven't really lost anything there, because it sort of put us back up to where we were previously. We're just back to rookie again. Obviously we already were rookie, because we didn't manage to achieve any of them. And we actually got a penalty for not getting the top 15 in the race, but in the end they couldn't really do anything about it. And we failed our first turning point then of the whole career mode. The first one we've ever had, we have failed it. We've been given gear up here then. So let's see what we've got to do with this one. Why have I got to beat Yamanaka again? I just failed to beat him twice. So actually I've got to try and beat Yamanaka again. That's great, because it's just not going to happen. So yeah, that's fun. So let's have a look at the feeds that we've got for this one. So we've got Tatsuki Suzuki saying, "I'm pleased I kept B-Biker behind me. I wanted to add some spice to the rivalry and thought we were both up for having some fun." Well, I don't know where he's got this idea that we're rivals from, because I haven't seen him all season. I've not seen him in a single session, except maybe I followed him out the pits once in free practice. So don't know where he's got this from, but we'll respond courteously to him, because why not? I learnt a lot this weekend. Even if I finished the challenge behind, I understood a few things that I hope I can use next time. We may as well be alright with him, because for whatever reason he thinks we're rivals. Ricciardo Rossi, on the other hand, we actually did battle with him, so that makes sense. So Biker's performance worries me. It means that he'll have even greater motivation to return the positions that everyone's expecting at Valencia. You know what, we're going to say the whole team know how hard I work. I don't think comments like that are helpful. Yeah, Ricciardo Rossi, you're dissing me. I mean, he barely beat me on what is a better team. So, I mean, yeah, what can he really say about that? But either way, then we've got Scott Ogden. The season is over. We've had our fun. Next year, hopefully, we'll get a few more results. That is harsh. There's see you next season, which is the one I'm going to respond with. But then there's, please, the entire team needs a contribution next season, not a dead weight. That is so harsh. Oh, wow. Okay, well, yeah, we'll see you next season. We'll be nice to him, because he is our teammate after all. And there we go then. We will end off the episode on that note. A bit of a weird option for us to respond there on the social media. Does seem like a quite funny part of the game. I'm going to keep going back to that and seeing what the responses are, because that was actually quite a funny response. So it'd be nice to see some more a bit like that. But guys, if you do have the MotoGP 23 game, do let me know how you're getting on in your career modes. Obviously, you can see I'm struggling quite a bit in mine. We've turned the difficulty down. Going to probably keep it at that difficulty for the next episode and see how we get on, because we could somewhat make progress in this one. Although, again, it did seem like the end of the race I was just quicker than the AI, which is strange because in the previous game it was the opposite. So the AI do seem to behave a little bit differently. The racing is better with them. They seem a little bit less stupid. They don't do so many silly things. Maybe I'm just used to racing them after all these years and I can avoid them a bit. I don't know, but they do seem potentially a bit more sensible. But I hope you guys did enjoy that episode of career mode. Like I said, let me know how you're getting on in your own career modes in the comments below. If you are new to the channel, please do like the video and subscribe, as I'll be bringing plenty more MotoGP 23 content. So this is definitely the place to be if you want to see some more gameplay of the game. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you're all staying safe, and I shall see you in the next one.